Hi, I'm Marcel, and welcome to me screaming into the void, mostly about books. I am doing Criminologies, Read What You Own, where my husband has picked out 100 of the books that we have on our shelf that he thought I might not have read, wrapped them up, given them a number, and I am picking them one at a time out of a used saucer jar. Now, I have just finished World of the War Z, an oral history of the zombie wars by Max Brooks. And this is the concept, which I think is the most magnificent thing with it, is that it is written as if he is a journalist that is doing interviews with people. So he's talking about where he is, who he is interviewing, and a description of what they are doing. And then they are telling, and there's sort of short descriptions of it. And I loved this concept. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely amazing concept. So World War Z is about an epidemic, a pandemic that starts, they think, in China. But of course, can you trust oral history? And then it becomes a global thing as more and more people are infected. And what I absolutely loved, and I do mean loved, about this concept is the fact that it is oral history. It's the fact that he is doing interviews with people all over the world, and he is doing interviews with people who have survived. So we know that they will survive. But of course, when something like a world war happens, when something so globally and so massive happens, you have to then start to think, how objective are these people? How truthful are they? And I'm not necessarily saying that they are consciously trying to lie, but there are interpretations of an event. There are your subjective remembrance of an event. And all of that is so brilliantly encapsulated in this concept. And Max Brooks uses it so well, both in the sense that you don't necessarily think that anyone is deliberately lying to you, but more that you are open for time witnesses, which, if you're going to do this in academia, we call them time witnesses when we interview someone who's experienced something. Time witnesses will always both be truthful, yet not necessarily a source for objective truth. And then you can always ask, is there anything like objective truth? Isn't everything sort of infused by interpretation? I know that this book was popular during the pandemic. I can absolutely understand that because this book doesn't necessarily read like what I thought a zombie book would read like. I've read some zombie books, but with the exception of a few scenes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them, this book reads more like there's a global event happening. So yes, it's in the book, it's zombies, but it might as well have been an illness or a set of earthquakes or anything. With the exception of a few scenes, the zombies aren't what's important. It's people's reaction to the global event. And that's where I sort of think that he also does a brilliant job with picking people and characters from a global perspective. There isn't really one main character in this. There are several, because the context is he's a journalist traveling around, or a researcher traveling around and interviewing these time witnesses. And I think that I know that there is a film based on this book, and I can absolutely understand, not having seen the film at all, why that film wouldn't work. Because in a film, you need one main protagonist. And this book works because there isn't one main protagonist. This book could have worked as a TV series, because, of course, with a TV series, you're allowed to have multiple main characters. And I'm saying that he is good at doing the global aspect of it, that he has done interviews with people from Russia, from China, from the Caribbeans. I'm not really sure if he has any from Africa. I don't remember that at the moment. But saying that, yes, he has a global perspective, yeah, and is good at telling it from different perspectives. This is very much a Western book, sort of especially an American book. So yes, he is good at it. Yes, it's sort of so there is, of course, a balance and a form of a realistic expectations that you need to have when reading this book. I said that the zombies doesn't really matter, that this isn't necessarily about the zombie outbreak, but more about the reactions to a global event. That it might as well just have been an illness like the pandemic, which might be one reason why it became so popular during the pandemic. There are a few scenes where he uses the zombie aspect of the theme extremely well, where he describes people who have been fighting against the zombies, and then sort of describing how fear is an important tactic to use in combat. That and if you've done that throughout history, where you scare people into not really wanting to fight with you. And the problem, of course, with fighting zombies is that they don't really become afraid of anything. So it's difficult to fight zombies in that sense. That being said, all of this being said, I was disappointed in the end, but I don't really know how he could have written a better ending. I felt like the ending became a little bit sort of a humdrum. It ended, and I don't know. It became very American at the ending, which probably also said something, and it just stopped. It didn't conclude. It just ended with some of these last few interviews, and you knew every one of those were going to survive because they were able to be interviewed in the first place. So again, I don't know how he could have ended it better. But I absolutely loved this book, all of that aside. And I loved the concept. And if anyone else knows about a book with a similar concept of the story being told through interviews, not letters or books or emails, but through interviews as a technique, please let me know, because I want to read more books like that. So that was World of War Z by Max Brooks. I need to the next one, and to do that, bad planning on my part, I apologize, but I need my salsa jar. So I am now going to pick a random number. And the random number is, you guys are seeing it before me, 18. 18 is a good number. And I'm now going to have to fight through my bag, because I have a trolley, but I also have a bag of books. That sounds like a book reader's wet dream. I have a bag of books. And of course, because I'm doing the books randomly, I then have to move the books along, and they then stop being in order. Unlike my trolley, where they sort of just standing still. So I am now picking out all of the books to find number 18. And I need to remember to fix all of the books so they go back into order, because then I won't spend so much time looking through all of them. And this is the reason why I have to do it, because of course I then have to pick all of the books out and then put them back in again. And it's a mess. And I can't really even complain, because it's a mess of my own creation. So, and there are so many books. I need to read more books. So give me a moment. I found it. 18. So it's not a very thick book. And as I said, I haven't, it's my husband who's picked all of them. So I have no idea what books we're going to have. Because I don't know all the books we have on the shelf. No. Oh, this is fine. It's fine. This is a graphic novel. I'm sorry. I haven't read this book, but I know of it, and I know that this is absolutely gruesome. This is a graphic book by Alan Moore and Brian Bolland, Batman: The Killing Joke. And this, I'm going to say it's a graphic novel. I don't know if it's a comic or a graphic novel in that sense, but I do think that I will probably say this as a graphic novel. And what this one is about is the Joker claims that everyone can become insane. So the Joker is a character in the Batman universe. This is a book from the Batman universe. If you don't know about Batman and the Batman universe, Google, because it's very complicated. So this is a sort of a standalone graphic novel where the Joker, who is a main character in the Batman universe, has a theory that everyone can go insane if they just have one bad enough idea, bad enough day. And this book has become quite controversial, partly because it's so gruesome, partly because people are questioning the way that it's supposed to be gruesome. And I'm going to read it, and I'll let you know my thoughts. And thank you for listening to me screaming into the void.